Over the past few weeks, long-range models have started locking in on some big pattern changes, and that's reshaping the snowfall outlook across the country. The jet stream is beginning to show signs of diving further south, colder air is becoming more dominant, and that means new snowfall zones are beginning to emerge. Welcome back, everybody, here with your updated 2025-2026 snowfall forecast. I post weather updates all season long, so if you love tracking storms like I do, please make sure you are subscribed to the channel and enable all notifications by hitting the bell icon below this video. Now let's jump straight into the updated snowfall map and see where the heaviest snowfall totals are actually shaping up at. So the first layer that we're looking at here is who is going to see at least a trace amount of snowfall across much of the United States, and that includes, of course, Seattle, Portland, Salt Lake City, if you're in Houston, New Orleans, Jacksonville, Florida, Charlotte, Washington, D.C., if you're in upstate New York. Pretty much everybody here on this map is going to see at least a trace amount, except for the central and southern Florida region, parts of California like the Central Valley, and Phoenix, Arizona. So now who is going to see at least a half an inch of snowfall? So this is a little bit more than a trace amount, but it's not going to really cause a lot of problems because it's just a teeny bit of snowfall on any roadway or on your roof. This includes for San Antonio, Houston, Texas, New Orleans, right on the border there of a half an inch of snow at least this winter and fall. New York City, Boston, Buffalo, New York, going to see at least a half an inch. But now who's going to see at least 1 inch of snowfall? This is when it gets a teeny bit more impactful, and that includes, of course, the same areas like Seattle, Portland, Salt Lake City, Pittsburgh, Boston, Detroit, Chicago, Minneapolis. If you're in Fargo up there in North Dakota and on the border there, Minnesota, you're looking at least 1 inch of snow. But this is a far cry of what you're about to see towards the end of my snow map here, the finished product. Now, who's going to see at least 2 inches of snowfall? This gets a little bit more dramatic, and this includes for Dallas still, Atlanta, Charlotte, Nashville, Kansas City, Chicago, Indianapolis. If you're in Pittsburgh, if you're in Buffalo, as well as Boston, you're looking at about 2 inches of snow. But now, who's going to see at least 3 inches of snowfall here? This gets a little bit more amountful. This includes for Albuquerque, New Mexico. If you're in Salt Lake City, Reno, Nevada, you're looking at about 3 inches of snow. Lake Tahoe up there in the higher elevations, you're looking at about 3 inches of snow at least or more. Portland, Oregon, you're on the border there of seeing about 3 inches of snow. In Seattle, you're looking at about 3 inches of snow or less there for your area. So now who's going to see 4 inches of snow? Well, again, for much of the northern plains, the Midwest, the Great Lakes region, you're looking at least 4 inches of snowfall. This includes for New York, Boston, Washington, D.C., Charlotte. Yes, you're going to see at least 4 inches of snow, I strongly believe, for this upcoming winter season, especially from October the 16th all the way through May the 1st. Again, the 2025-2026 accumulated snowfall forecast. Now, who's going to see 5 inches of snow? So almost about a half a foot of snow. This includes for much of the Rockies, the Northern Plains, the Great Lakes, into the Midwest, the Snow Belt, Corn Belt areas as well. Going to see a lot of snowfall, including for the Northeast. And now who's going to see 6 inches of snowfall, at least a half a foot? And that includes, again, for Oklahoma City, for Memphis, Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, through the Appalachians there, as well as Pittsburgh, Washington, D.C., yes, New Jersey. If you're in upstate New York, downtown New York, you're looking at least 6 inches of snow, including for Reno, the Pacific Northwest, and Lake Tahoe. So now, who's going to see a foot of snowfall or 12 inches? Well, you can clearly see here on the map that Denver, Colorado, Kansas City, St. Louis, Indianapolis. If you're in Chicago, Detroit, you're looking at least a foot of snowfall for the fall and winter season. And so now who's going to see 18 inches of snowfall? So this is a foot and a half, and that's in the orange area that I've highlighted here. And that includes all the way from Maine, all the way across the Great Lakes region, across much of the northern tier of the United States, including for parts of the desert southwest there, such as Reno, if you're in Winnemucca, if you're in Elko, if you're in Ely, yeah, you're going to get a lot of snow, as well as portions of Portland and Seattle, in Spokane, as well as Washington, going to get a little bit of, or quite a bit here. But now, who is going to get 2 feet of snowfall? This is when it becomes a little bit of a problem, especially when you don't get any thawing out from these Arctic air masses and it just sits there and it sits there and it doesn't melt away. This is where it becomes a little bit of an issue, especially on roadways. You can see 2 feet of snowfall is projected here, in my opinion, for Albuquerque, New Mexico, Denver, Colorado, Kansas City, St. Louis. Could see at least 2 to almost 3 feet of snowfall this upcoming winter. Boston, Buffalo, Detroit. Yes, lots of snow is expected this winter. And here's a look at who's going to see 3 feet of snowfall. And this includes for the northern plains, for the upper Midwest there of Indianapolis in Indiana, as well as Detroit. If you are in central northern Michigan, you're looking at a lot of snowfall as well, including for Lake Tahoe. And keep in mind, this is a very high resolution map of showing those snowfall totals. And I sure hope I did a really good job at painting a picture here. This took me a while. This took me a little over 3 weeks just to do, and it was not easy. So here's a look at who's going to see 4 feet of snowfall, and that's in the darker red color. And this includes Minneapolis, if you're in Detroit, Buffalo, Boston, if you're in Pittsburgh, if you're in Washington, D.C., and even I'm including, I will be very nice and friendly to you all, downtown New York could see 4+ feet of snowfall this upcoming late fall into the winter season months. So yes, maybe a white Christmas for some of you. We'll see about that. Seattle, not going to see 4 feet of snow, but the Cascade Range there is going to see a lot of snow. And of course, if you're in Lake Tahoe, Reno, you're looking at about 4 feet of snowfall for this upcoming winter season. But that's not all. Let's see who is going to see 5 feet of snowfall. And that includes for portions of, again, the Intermountain West here of the Colorado Rockies, 5+ feet of snow. Now, this is where it becomes a little bit more localized, so we're not seeing a widespread risk here of seeing 5 feet across the entire United States. That would be, well, for the Deep South, for one thing, that would be unprecedented for this time of the year. And then, of course, or for the winter season. And of course, this is a lot of snow, so it's going to be more confined to higher elevations. And you can see that there over Denver, seeing at least 5 feet of snowfall this upcoming winter is certainly a sure bet. Salt Lake City as well, and of course the Northeast. Now, who is going to get 6 feet of snowfall? And there are 2 distinct areas here. That includes for the Great Lakes due to a lot of lake effect snow. The lake effect snow machine this year, I believe, is going to be insanity. We are going to probably see some historic snowfall totals in isolated spots. I would not be surprised by that at all. And you can see there, of course, 6 feet is a lot, but that's nothing compared to with what you're about to see. Much of the Rockies, the high deserts, as well for Nevada, for the Sierras, as well as the Cascades, going to see 6 feet of snowfall. But now, who's going to see 7 feet of snowfall? And again, same areas here, but also for the Northeast, for the Great Lakes. And let's take a look here at our 8-foot snowfall forecast. And this, again, of course, includes for the Sierra Mountain Range here. Keep in mind how detailed this is. This, I could not finite things to a 10K quality here. So some of these mountainous terrain areas might see a lot more snow than what is actually being indicated here, just because of how tightly wound up I had to get in there and actually manually paint these areas out. So I do apologize if it's a little on the offside. I can't be perfect, and that's what models are. Models are not perfect because, you know, like the GFS is not high-res model. That for another day. But you can see here 8 feet of snow for the Northeast. Now, who's going to see 9 feet of snowfall? This is in the Crippling range. This is where it becomes extremely impactful, especially when you get some of these bigger winter storms that deliver some of the heaviest lake effect snow, some of the nor'easters that deliver the heaviest snow. This is where it becomes a really big problem. And this includes, again, of course, for upstate New York, for northern Maine, northern New Hampshire, Vermont sees the most. Look at the Appalachians here of West Virginia, far western Maryland could get 9 feet of snowfall between October 16th and May the 1st of next year, okay? And then, of course, the Rockies here for the higher elevations, 9 feet, but it gets even far worse than this. Who's going to see 10 feet of snowfall? This is really, really a big issue here, especially for Buffalo, New York, for the extreme Northeast. 10 feet of snowfall cannot be ruled out with this, as well as for the higher elevations. But it gets worse and more spicier, folks. Who is going to see crippling, unprecedented snowfall totals here? 15 feet. Say it with me, folks. 15 feet of snowfall. And that includes for Buffalo, New York, yes, Oswego. I want to make sure I said that right. Oswego, that would be for New York area, for Erie, Pennsylvania, for northeastern Ohio. Yes, like right along the brim there, you're looking at, again, due to lake effect snow, 15 feet between tomorrow and May 1st of next year. And of course, the higher elevations here could certainly see 15 feet as well, like the Sierra Mountain range. Man, that's a lot of snowfall for a winter season, but it only gets worse. Who is going to see 20 darn feet? 20 feet, folks. Imagining that, and it's 20 plus feet, because some of these other areas, like the higher elevations here, could see as much as 40 or 50 feet of snowfall by the time the winter season is all said and done. All right, and you can see for the Sierra, 20 plus feet of snowfall. That would be over the higher elevations west of Lake Tahoe. This does not include Reno, fortunately, which is good, because boy, Reno would be really piled up. And then, of course, the higher elevations here, such as Wyoming, Yellowstone, could see 20 plus feet of snowfall. And then, of course, over Buffalo, New York, as well as Watertown, New York, you could see 20 plus feet of snowfall. My previous snowfall forecast did not include the half a foot or a half an inch of snow or trace amounts. So those were newly added in. And so when we look at the finished product here, you can see which areas will see a trace amount of snow and which areas could see the most crippling amount of snow, and that includes for the Great Lakes region where that lake effect snow is, and where the higher elevations are for the Rocky Mountains, such as if you are in western Montana, if you're in Yellowstone area, Denver, Colorado, just to your west. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I mean, man, 20 feet of snowfall or greater. That is a lot of snowfall. That is a crap ton of snowfall. I can't even imagine how much 20 feet actually is there when it comes to a snowfall season. Now, I want to make it clear, just because you do see 20 feet of snowfall does not mean it's going to actually be 20 feet high at the end of all of this. It's going to melt, and then it's going to accumulate a little bit, and it's going to melt a little bit, and it's going to accumulate. So you're going to have to really pay close attention on how much snowfall you actually get, and you can look that up there on the snowfall analysis map too, of how much snowfall we've had so far this winter, and that gives you pretty much a good idea. All right. So now, really quickly, not going to take too much longer into this. What is the average yearly snowfall between October 1st and May 1st? And so I didn't put a whole lot of work into this because, of course, this is on a timeline. I want to get this out by tomorrow for you all. So who typically sees 6 inches of snow? And you can see Oklahoma City, much of the northern plains typically sees at least 6 inches of snow. And then who typically sees a foot of snowfall for a given winter season? And you can see there in a light orange, that includes much of the Great Lakes, the Northeast, the upper Midwest, and the northern plains. And who typically sees 2 feet of snowfall in red? And you can see the average 2 foot mark there. Again, this is a rough estimate. I had to hand draw this, so I had to use some maps that I did not like or want to use, and so this might be off by a little bit, but not by a whole lot. But this gives you a general guideline on, okay, so if I'm getting 4 feet of snowfall in Chicago, that's above average. Well, actually, it is a little bit above average, because who gets 4 feet of snowfall is typically the extreme northeast, the Great Lakes, the Rocky Mountains, as well as the Sierra. And then who could get 6 feet of snowfall in purple there? That includes for Denver, for the northeast. And who could get 8 feet of snowfall? That includes, again, for the Great Lakes region due to lake effect snow, Denver, Colorado. And who typically gets 10 plus feet of snowfall in a given winter? And that includes, of course, for the extreme northeast there of the United States, as well as Rockies. I did forget to put this in actually, but for the extreme northern portion of Michigan, you typically average with 10 plus feet of snowfall for a given winter, running from the water year of October 1st of each year through May 1st the following year. So with that being said, I sure hope you did find this video very helpful, detailed, and informative, and you absolutely did like my updated high-resolution snowfall forecast for the fall and winter season of October 16th through May the 1st, 2025, 2026. If you found this video helpful, please share, like, and subscribe. It does help out a lot, folks, because boy, oh boy, this took at least 3 or 4 weeks to work on. It was a never-ending project that I was stressing over, and which is one of the reasons why I have not been uploading here on the YouTube channel recently. So anyways, thank you all for watching, and I will be back with you more with awesome weather content.